All right, guys, it is time for math today. So I need you to put your listening ears on, sit up straight, and get ready for math. Okay, so I want to show you three numbers. Number one, let's move this up a little bit so you can see it. That's number two. And okay, we are going to work together and we are going to put these three numbers in order from least to greatest. And you're thinking, well, Miss Simpson, I don't know how to do that. Let's look at it, guys. So we're going to start with the biggest place value. So if we look, we know that we have our ones house here. We have our ones period. We have our thousands period. We have our millions period. And then we have our billions. So as you can see, our billions place is all exactly the same. 5, 5, 5. So none of those numbers are bigger. So we're good there. Now we're going to look at our 100 millions place because you know that this is ones, tens, hundreds. We're going to look at our 100 million place. Okay, well I have a 6, an 8, and a 7. Out of those three numbers, which one is the smallest? Pause right here and I want you to figure it out. Out of a 6, an 8, and a 7, which one is the smallest? If you said 6, you got it. So we know that our smallest number, our least is going to be 5,000. See if you can see this. Okay, guys. 5 billion. Why did I say 1,000? 5 billion, 678 million, 903,101. Okay. So if that's our smallest number, which out of 8 and 7 is the next smallest number? Pause right here and figure that out. Out of 8 and 7, you should have said 7. So now our next number is 5 billion, 768 million, 390,110. And we know our biggest number, our greatest number, is going to be the very last one that we have up here. So that is, I'm going to try to write it over here. You might not be able to see it, but we're going to try. 5 billion, 876 million, 930,111. So now I have ordered my numbers from least all the way to greatest. Now you noticed I looked at them in their place value chunks. If I looked at this whole number right here and they were laid out like this and I was like, oh my gosh, that's big numbers. How in the world am I going to figure out which one's the smallest, which one's the biggest? Line them up like I did up here. Start with your biggest place value and see, are they the same? We had to stop right here in the 100 million place. We only had to check 2 numbers. Okay, let's try that again. All right, so say you got a problem on your worksheet and it said, put these numbers in order from least, or let's do greatest to least. Put these numbers in order from greatest to least. We know least means small and greatest means big, the biggest number. So if they give you a string of them like this, you are going to write them underneath each other. So let me show you what I mean. You're gonna start off, I'm just gonna draw a line right here. You're gonna start off by writing 5,876,930,111. And then, you know what might even help you if you use notebook paper like we did yesterday, and you could write it in each of the lines so that you can keep them nice and in line. So now we're going to start with, we did this one, we wrote it down. So we're gonna write it right underneath it. And you need to make sure every digit, a digit is a number, so like 5 is a digit. Every digit is in line with each other or this is not gonna work. So 5,678,903,101. Do you see how my digits, they line up exactly with each other? You've got to make sure you're doing that. And if you're on notebook paper, it would be really easy because you would have the lines right here that would divide up your numbers. Really easy to see. Okay, and next we have 5,668,390,000 and not and, remember don't say and. Ooh, big mistake, Miss Simpson. 5,668,390,001. Okay, so now that we have them all lined up to each other, let's get a little closer so you can see. We are going to take our colors and we're gonna break them up into our periods. That's our houses. So we know that we have, here I'll even draw you a little house. We have our ones house, our ones period. We have our thousands house or our thousands period. We have our millions house or our millions period. And then we have our billions. Okay, so remember, just like we did the last time, we start with the biggest place value, the biggest one, and we work from left to right. So if I'm at the left, I know that 5, 5, and 5, that is the same exact number. So that doesn't tell me which one is the biggest. We're looking for greatest to least. That doesn't tell me. It's all the same number. So now we're going to go on to our 100 million because we know ones, tens, hundreds, ones, tens, hundreds, ones, tens, hundreds. Okay, 100 million. So we're looking for the greatest number first. Out of the numbers 8, 6, and 6, what is the biggest number? What is the greatest number? Pause it, figure it out. I hope you said the 8. So we know that's our greatest number, so we're gonna write it down first because it's asking from greatest to least. So I can cross that one off my list. Okay, so unfortunately we have to look for the next biggest number, the next greatest number. So 6 isn't gonna help us. It's the same number. So cross it out and move on. All right, out of 7 and 6, which one is the greatest? The numbers 7 and 6, which one is the greatest out of the two of those? I hope you said 7. So we can copy down our next number. As our next greatest. And now we have one more left, and that is 5,668,390,001. All right, guys. All right, so now we're going to practice with our greater, less than, and equal to signs. So we know that this symbol right here means equal to. It is just two parallel lines. It means equal to. This right here means less than because it is going to eat the bigger number. And we'll discuss that in a minute. And this is greater than, and it points to the left because it eats the bigger number. So greater than, less than, or equal to. So I want to take a look at these two numbers. And we are trying to determine, is this number greater than, less than, or equal to this number? So just like I just did, you are going to take this number, the second number, and write it underneath the first number. So what I mean is you're going to take this number and you're going to write exactly in the same order 1,509,000,000. Remember, you've got to be very organized or this is not going to work. So now instead of working with 3 numbers, we're only working with 2 numbers. So that's easy peasy lemon squeezy. We start with the biggest place value. We're like, well, we know that the ones, that's the same number. So we're going to cross it out because that's not going to help us. The 4 and the 5, which one is this number greater than this number? Is this number bigger than this number? Or is the 4 smaller than this number? Pause your video. We know that the 4 is smaller than or less than 5. So our signs, these less than and greater than signs, we know that it eats, like this, we know that it eats the bigger number. Because I mean, guys, you want more food, you want more number. So this little crocodile is going to eat the bigger number. We already said that the 5, this one is bigger. So we need our crocodile to eat that number. So we know that it is less than this number because we need it to eat that. All right, so same thing as the last one. We are trying to determine, is this number greater than, equal to, or less than? Greater than, equal to, or less than. So our first step when you have 2 numbers like this and when you have 3 numbers is you're going to line them up in a row. So we're going to write underneath this 9, 0, 5, line it up, 8, 2, 1, and 1, 1, 6, right in order. So we start with our biggest place value. This is the 100 millions. And we say, okay, those numbers, they're the same. These numbers, they're the same. These numbers, they're the same. And then we get to our 100,000s place and we're like, okay, 1 and 8. I know that 1 is smaller than 8. So I'm trying to figure out, what sign am I going to use? So are these 2 numbers equal? Well, no, because we know that this number is smaller than that number, okay? So now I'm gonna try and figure out, is it greater than or less than? Well, I know that this number is smaller than this number, so I know it's probably not greater than, it's gotta be less than, it's gotta be smaller. So, if you do not like the alligator eating for the less than sign, that confuses you. You're like, I know that it eats the bigger number, but I can't remember which way they go. I want you to try this. You're gonna put 1 dot on the side of the smaller number, and you're gonna put 2 dots on the side of the bigger number, and then you're gonna connect those dots. And that tells you that 905,128,161 is less than 905,821,116. So you can either have the alligator chomping down on the bigger number, or you can have one dot goes to the small number, two dots go to the big number, and then you connect the dots, and that'll show you that this number is less than this number. All right, guys, so today for your math assignment, you are going to be assigned on Education Galaxy a greater than, less than, equal to, comparing numbers assignment. So please, please, please watch the video below to show you how to get to that assignment if you do not know how. All right, guys, y'all have fun.